Hello and welcome back to ADHD Support Talk Radio. My name is Tara McGillicuddy, and I am the host of ADHD Support Talk Radio. I am an adult ADD productivity coach, and I am also the founder and director of ADDclasses.com. And at ADDclasses.com, we provide virtual support and education to people affected by ADD and ADHD. We offer free teleseminars. We have an extensive ADD audio library with more than 150 courses. And we also offer more in-depth programs, including the Adult ADD Bootcamp that my guest today, Linda, is the instructor for. And you can learn more about ADDclasses.com by going to the website www.addclasses.com. And I would like to wish everyone a very happy 2016. I can't believe it's already 2016. And I have some announcements to make for the new year. The first one is that next week I will be speaking at the free online ADHD Women's Palooza. It's a week-long free conference for women with ADHD. And there's 30 experts, legends and luminaries, as Linda and Terry, who are hosting the event, are calling us. And it's a free event for women with ADHD. You can sign up by going to womenwithadhd.com. And then on January 17th, I will be hosting the first ever ADHD giveaway event. And that is a month-long event from January 17th to February 17th. And we are giving away some great products and services to help people affected by ADD and ADHD. I'm joined by 4 ADHD coaches, and you can learn more and sign up at ADHDgiveaway.com. Also, check out livingwithadd.com. We have some free resources. We have a book club, we have a peer coaching group, and a free peer support chat on Thursday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, which is New York time. And with that, I would like to welcome back Linda Hillger to ADHD Support Talk Radio. Linda is one of my original co-hosts of ADHD Support Talk Radio. And we're going to be talking about making changes on today's show. And I thought it was a great topic for the new year because this is the time when a lot of us are thinking about making changes. So welcome back, Linda.
Woohoo! I love your topic, and thank you for welcoming me back. I am psyched about 2016, and I'm so glad to see 2015 is gone. And with that, I have some major changes for myself on my list as well. So this is a great topic for me, and I appreciate you inviting me on.
Yeah, can you let our listeners know how they can get in touch with you, and who are you in relationship to helping people affected by ADD?
Oh, cool. Yes. My website is lindahilger.com, and that's spelled LINDAHILLGER.com. And you can get in touch with me anytime there. And I list my classes and clubs and books all available on that site. And I'm happy to answer questions. So I've been a professional organizer helping people with ADD live organized lives at home and at work for, now 20-something years. And
Wow.
and I've been working with you for, what did you say the other day? We have been working together like over, almost 15 years on.
Yeah, I think it's close to 15 years. Yeah, we've been collaborating together and working on ADHD-related projects. Wow.
Time flies. And, you've helped so many, enormous amounts of people with ADD get the help they need through professionals, through your clubs and classes, and through all of the events that you do. And you have a giveaway coming up. It's amazing, that you put out for the world of ADD and all that we have learned, as professionals that have ADD, working on this topic and helping others. It's been an enormous sort of force that's taken over the ADD community, where we are really guiding each other to learn what works and what doesn't. And you are that force. You're one of the key forces. So I'm glad you have so much coming up in this year. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. And I just thought talking about making changes, the systematic approach to making changes, the process to making changes is such a great topic because it's a new year and a lot of people are thinking about, their goals, their resolutions, and making changes. And also I think another great reason is because you and I have been working together so long. We've gone through that process as, colleagues of doing programs together, making changes with the programs, and also in our personal and professional lives individually, we've done the process of making changes.
Yes, and it's amazing. The ADD Bootcamp class is the longest-running class for adults with ADD on the internet, and we have now changed that because we're seeing that people want to change it up and make it a more condensed 4-week program instead of 7 weeks, and highlight the primary information so that people can really visualize what it is they want to focus on and move toward that in a calm, designed way that they feel good about. And changing the boot camp to be this focused and 4-week program really came about over, talking about change. It took about 1.5 years of you and I talking about what we see people get accomplished, how do they feel, where's their energy, what do they love, and what do they not love about boot camp, so that we can make a condensed class that's the clear and focused class that is going on now. And so it shows what is needed over time to change things and make it better. And so You're a great example of that. It took 1.5 years, but we got it done.
Yeah, and we evaluated it. We knew it was time for a change. We could just sense it, and it's like, okay, what are people looking for? And, we've been running it for over 10 years, and just technology has changed so much in the past decade that when we first did it, we were, doing a type-based chat room, and I think we had 15 people sign up. And then now technology's changed, and people's needs and wants have changed too. And people also want on-demand stuff, whereas before, people would sign up for the live program. Everyone would get there as close to on time as possible on the right day, and that was expected. Now, people want the on-demand. They want to be some want to be there live. Some, it's really important for them to be there live and to have a set date and time. But so many other people want that on demand. They want to be able to download the content at a different time, listen to it at their convenience. So that's something that a process is, what do people want? What's, look at what's going on in the world, what people want. And I think that's something to look at, with any type of change that you're thinking of making in your life. What else is involved in it, and knowing that it is a process.
Yeah, and anticipating that it won't be today. The things that we're looking at, like, for instance, we're right now in the wintertime because it's January 2016. So for us, in the northern hemisphere, we're covered in snow and it's cold, so I am in the house. Well, over time, I've learned that because I love the sun, I love being out in the summertime. And so if I just let the house if I don't pay attention to that now because I'm in the house, if I don't put the work in now, when I want to get out in the summertime, my stuff is still going to be all a mess inside. So I've kind of learned that it's worth cleaning out and getting the house stuff centered while it's snowy and cold out. Because then I'm free in the spring. I'm like, oh my God, I did it. Like, I feel like a caterpillar coming out of its shell and finally having wings. And then when the summer comes, I really want to look back and be glad that I did it while I was stuck in the house anyway.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to organizing.
Yeah, and last winter I think we kind of couldn't leave our house because in the Boston area we had a couple storms where we got over 100 inches, in a 3-week period. So there were some things that changes that we were almost forced to make. So yeah, looking at your environment in the right time. And right now as we're recording this, it's the new year and people are thinking, okay, I have to make changes right now because it's 2016, the new year. And for some of us, now is an awesome time to make changes, do things differently, set new goals, readjust, reevaluate. But for some people, it may not be the best time to make changes. I mean, look at what's going on in your life right now. Is it? And I'm not saying it is or isn't a good time for you, but I think that's one thing to look at is now, with everything else going on in your life, your priorities, your health, your everything else, is now the best time for you to make the changes.
That's an excellent point. And, you did an excellent job of using that example for this change for the boot camp class. Mm-hmm. We've been talking about that for like a year, thinking it out, getting centered on how would it flow, how would the information flow, who liked this, how did it work, did they have an outcome that they really loved at the end of that class. So you were patient in the process of just thinking it out. What doesn't work? What does work? Okay, if we did this, how would that feel? And really sensing that about the process so that by the time we actually got into the action of creating the class, of designing it, we already had thought about all those things. So I think for ADD, oftentimes we're thinking about what bugs us and what we wish we could change. Mm-hmm. And one of the tricks is actually getting into the head of writing out what bugs you and then making what would make that better, that one step better, each thing, one step better, sort of over time makes a huge difference.
Yes. And sometimes it is those little steps, those little changes, and sometimes it makes sense to implement those small changes, the tweaks immediately. Sometimes it makes sense to do them at a different time. Like, we thought about relaunching the boot camp like in November, and it just, for both of us, it wasn't a good time. It wasn't a good time. People really they were ready for 2015 to be over. They weren't ready to make changes in general. I mean, there were some people that probably would have taken the boot camp in November, and it would have been helpful. But now it's, the beginning of 2016, the Adult ADD boot camp, Clear and Focused, is going to start February 4th. It's a good time because February's always been a great time for us to run programs for people with ADHD, because a lot of people, start off the new year with all these intentions. I'm going to lose 100 pounds. I'm going to exercise every day, blah, 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 whatever it is. And then end of January, beginning of February comes around, and a lot of people haven't been as successful with their resolutions and changes as they have been. So February's always been a great time for people with ADHD, especially through ADDclasses.com, to get back on track. They're ready. They're ready to do it with help, because a lot of times, I admit, I'm like this. I like to do things on my own, and then it's like, okay, maybe let's reevaluate. Maybe it's time to bring somebody else in, whether it's a coach, an assistant, hire someone, work with someone, talk to a friend. So February for us has always been a great time to launch something new and try a new program.
And the energy is there, too. I find that in February, January seems to be like, okay, I made it through the holidays. Let's just rest for a bit. And then when I get to February, my head really does at that point go, hey, we made it. We made it. For me in the snow, in a snowy environment, my head says, oh, my God, we're so close. If I do a little work in February, the payoff is March and April when it starts to feel better. I'm going to be so much better off. Like, I'm just going to be in a better place. Even if those are small changes, if you have little crappy things, like even keys, or you're always losing your wallet, or you have things to renew that are on your list, like car registrations and things like that are on your list. It's really, really helpful when it comes to my mind, even to name those little things and just take care of them so that the next month I feel better. Like that gradual change. And a group format is a fabulous way to hear other people and their answers as well, as we go through the change.
Yeah, I mean, that is a great thing. Not only is it a structured class, there are other people in it that you can communicate with, and that the energy of other people, the motivation, just hearing other people's stories, learning, knowing that you're not alone, that other people are going through this, can really help you move forward and make those changes.
Yes, and help you with the timeline as well. Like your process for redeveloping this class took a year. Well, other things were happening. You were slowly thinking out, hey, what do my people want? Well, what's going to help adults get clear and focused? What will help them get into action? So over the year, you were tossing back ideas, but making no movement, just tossing back ideas until it became clearer, until we could actually almost feel the class starting to go, yep, that's it. That's going to help. So,
and I wanted to act on it right away. I mean, I have ADHD. I have that impulse, that wanting things right away. So naturally, I wanted to make those changes right away. And I think that's something that a lot of people listening might be able to relate to is, okay, it's time. They want to make the changes and they want to implement them right away. And sometimes it makes sense to do that, but other times it makes sense to look at everything else going on in your life and 5 days might be a better time. 3 months might be a better time. But, sometimes it is that process of evaluating it for a while and finding out the ideal time to implement it.
Yes, and the thought time required. Like, for instance, if you run a home or you work, well, those are 2 areas. And then if you want to make changes, one of the things that's really good is actually just evaluating in home, what do I want to feel organized about? Since I'm an organizer, I can't help but fall back on that. And then at work in that area, what do I want to get organized that would just make it feel better? And whether that comes over time, because you're right, in the impulse of ADD, we have an idea and instantly we want to run with it. But those projects, of course, always have to be second to general living items. So running your house or going to work and getting there on time. And then on top of those, then you can think of projects. So when we're talking about changes usually come in form of naming a project to work on or something you want to give your attention to. So that taking time to think it out, and then eventually, like by the time this class starts, it's January now. So by the time I'm going to have 4 weeks to think about this class before we start. That's fabulous because my head will be able to wrap around it before the action.
And there was also, the process also involved you and I discussing it, so we weren't just in our own heads. We, in a sense, acted like coaches for each other because, we collaborate with each other. We had the accountability. And also, I think we got it out of our heads by talking to each other. And I know I took notes, while I was discussing this. So that's something to look at. If you're thinking about making changes, hey, maybe taking a class is going to help you. Maybe working with a professional ADHD coach, a professional organizer, or just like Linda and I are also friends and colleagues. Maybe it's someone that it's a family member or friend, but also running that change by somebody else, discussing it with it, somebody you trust, and it can be a professional that you hire, or it could be someone that's in your life that's that's a peer or a friend. So I think that's also very important to look at the process of making changes. We didn't do this alone. We had each other, and with other things in our lives, we've worked with other people. I think that for me, I know I'm a real introvert. I like to do things on my own, but one of the things is reaching out and collaborating and working with other people has really been extremely beneficial for me, and I know it is for other adults with ADHD.
Oh, yeah, so useful. And for me, I'll go blank. I'll be thinking about a process or writing a chapter of my book, and then I'll go blank on the actual discussion I had with you. Then we were talking about some piece of it that I just can't remember. And I'll tell you, it's so valuable to be able to call in another person that knows what ADD is like. So there's no discussion about apologizing. because the person knows where you're coming from. They can relate. So when I say I completely went blank and I know we had the focus of this, what were your points? And you'll go back in your notes and say, oh, these were the points. Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah.
So relying on others that have ADD so that they understand and you don't have to worry that anyone's ever going to judge while you make a change, because they recognize what you're working with, you know, and what your strengths are. And one of those strengths might actually be the one they pull out that says, yes, you can do this because you do this naturally, you know.
Yeah.
And the natural.
So, Linda, we are actually getting towards the end of today's show. Are there any final thoughts that you'd like to leave people with when it comes to making changes? And could you also make sure you give out your contact information?
Sure, absolutely. Contact information, Linda Hillger, and it's LindaHillger.com. And so that's my contact information. If you're interested in the Clarin focused 4-week intensive program that starts in February, and we might do it again. We're just gonna put it out there and see. It's at adultaddbootcamp.com. And you can feel free to check it out or write me about it if you have questions. And so that's contact. And for the new year, what I would say is simply it is a great 2015 was kind of hard for a lot of people. And so to take advantage of a new year and sort of put the past behind you in terms of, okay, that's how I have lived, or that's how my house or my work has been, but I'm going to change it now. And slowly but surely, I'm going to make it be the house I want to walk around in, or the schedule I want to live, the energy that I want to feel in my day, or my work environment. I want to make that really work to the best of my potential, or help me with ADD so that everything's automated. I think it's really useful to clear away the old and sort of get that new energy for this new year so that it can hold us through this whole beginning period and get us into the summer in a better place. So that's what I'd say. Put the past behind you and pull in your strengths and reevaluate for this great new year, because the energy is totally changing. Yes, and it feels like people are really getting they're just getting really much more empowered, I think. People are feeling better. Do you feel that at all?
Yeah, I think, too. It's just people I've talked to, already. I know we're less than a week into 2016, and I've noticed that already. So I think a lot of people are ready to either plan the changes they're going to make or make those changes. So thank you so much, Linda Hillger, and thank you, everyone, for listening to ADHD Support Talk Radio. And if you are listening to us on iTunes, be sure to stop by our website at adhdsupporttalk.com. Thanks again, everyone, and happy 2016.
And now, insurance-minded speeches from Geico.
Hardship. My grandmother would go through it every month to pay her insurance bill. First, she would handwrite a paper check in cursive. Then, using her own tongue, she would wet a stamp for an envelope. Today, however, we need not weary our hands and tongues. Today, we can pay our Geico bill with the Geico app. Away with hardship, in with bill pay on the Geico app. Thank you.